this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what they got. You know, they re-released Pepsi Blue, which I hated back in the 90s. So let's see if I don't like it in the current time. Alright, let's see here.
His second chances month for beverage.
Okay, it's just as nasty.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Okay. Well, I'm glad to see my memory was right. I actually liked Crystal Pepsi, but this stuff... Did you ever try this stuff back when it originally released?
I have no recollection.
Last released when I was in high school. And it just tasted so artificial.
No, this is pretty good. Coconut water with yuzu.
I would say this is sort of like melted blueberry slushy mixed with like bleach residue.
Oh, lovely.
That sounds about the right description. So, for Pepsi Blue, for that bleach flavor you love.
Hardly complimentary, Your Highness.
Alright, well, enough of that.
Oh, no, that was the Rightstuf sale. I was going to say, I sold some bleach this week, but that was Rightstuf.
And Rightstuf is having their birthday sale. I did make some purchases, nothing huge. Basically, I caught up on Castlevania and Boruto. Well, Boruto I didn't catch up to. I just got the 2 extra box sets that they put on sale that I'm behind. I think they're up to like 10 or 11 now. So
I have so far held off, but I do plan to get Volume 4 of Inuyasha because it's just the right price.
And I'm still debating on that So You Pick Up a Girl in Dungeon Season 2. It's just, I don't know.
I know, it's what, 80?
Well, I'm thinking of the regular for me, but I know you're there.
The premium is 80, which is a lot less than the last Sentai sale, but it's still a lot.
And the regular is about even with what it's gone down to. It hasn't gone down below 20-something. So, if it's still there by the end, maybe.
What was the one? Oh, Maidens in Your Savage Season. I think it's like 26 or something. I'm tempted by that.
Now, we have a crap ton of anime coming out this time, but sadly, no Gundam.
Oh.
We do have a couple of...
That's on the Rightstuf sale.
Yes, we do have Gundam on the Radstuf sale.
Yes.
But there are some Department of Corrections. Since some of them are actually Criterion, I'll let Jake handle those.
Apparently, there's a soft reissue of 5 titles. I don't know with every single one of these. I know George Washington was a recent release from them, period. You got Steven Soderbergh's King of the Hill, No Bumbox, Francis Ha, Lars von Trier's Breaking the Waves. I think it's John Cassavetes that does Love Streams. I don't remember for sure. Those 5 are all getting re-released, and all of them are on my I need to get it list one day. Breaking the Waves and Francis Ha might actually be a possibility with this sale, but we'll see.
I mean, I have the original release of Breaking the Waves in my collection, so, you know, that's a definite no. But there are also some that I said last time I was going to go ahead and update if it's on Blu-ray.com. Like, let's say you say, oh, heck with us, and check on Blu-ray.com to do your backup. There are a few of them that you cannot get straight on Amazon. Mail Order Murder, the story of WAVE Productions, is a Vinegar Syndrome Same with Shiva Baby and Treasures of the Ninja and the films of William Lee. They aren't going to be getting any deep dive from us today. Also, Mad About Music and Nice Girl are not available on Amazon, but are available on, I think, Walmart or oldies.com, a couple of those. So, just as a heads up. But, why don't we show you what's coming?
Get her done.
here we are. Of course, we have our rankings, priority, and hell no, which of course we both have to agree on to hit the tippy top or the bitty bottom.
Good.
But in the top, of course, we have priority, which is we must get it eventually. One way or another, it will be in the collection. We will not let being out of print stop us from getting it. Hell no, it'll never be in our collection. It won't even be in our collection if it was given to us for free.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in the middle, we've got our yes please, and which is we've definitely wish list that. We would like it, and we might not necessarily get it in the collection, but we would like to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Curious, I think that's self-explanatory. And then a meh, we would take it for free or really, really discounted. Of course, we try and round down on our votes. If one of us votes lower than the other, it goes down. But we'll see how it goes. So,
Hey, Blanche.
yeah, I guess you'll be starting us off. We got little kitties.
All right, we're going to be starting off with a show that actually is one I know he is more familiar with than I am, but it's one I want to see. We are seeing part 2 of A Certain Scientific Railgun Tea, which is season 3 of A Certain Scientific Railgun, which is, if you count Index, and I guess now Accelerator, one of many seasons of this. But it looks like a nice enough release, and I'd love to get it. And I will be getting this season. I have the first 2 seasons of each, this one and Index. I want to get them all. Sadly, the only one I have seen at this point is... No, I haven't even watched... Did I watch the movie?
I don't know if
I
you
don't
watch
remember.
it or not, but
I have it.
I have it myself.
But because of this bullshit that Funimation likes to pull with splitting everything and then coming back months later and doing the full release then, and this franchise cannot be bought piecemeal unless you have a lot of money. So I will not prioritize this particular release, but I am prioritizing this season. So use your judgment where you want to file that. But
Well, we put it as a priority to say series. For me, even this release, if I find out later that they will not do a combined, because it's been a while now since season 3 of Index has been out, and they still haven't done the combined yet. But then again, they took their time with Fruits Basket as well.
There was one of them, I think it's Index, where I have one of the seasons in 2 parts. But that one, it just came down to I got a hella deal on the 2-part release.
Well, that's the other thing. It could be that a deal will come up. I will get them. I like the first... Actually, I like Index. Not Index. I like Railgun better than I do Index. Which is funny because she is a tsundere character.
I was going to say, it's kind of against type for you.
But she's not a terrible tsundere character, and she does well. You have to adapt the tsundere a bit when you make her a main character. So she's a lot more relatable in many ways. And I still need to get Accelerator, which is only in one piece, but I'm waiting for a sale on it. But that is definitely one. So yeah, that one, season 3, and this season, I need to get to complete. And thank God it's Funimation and not being released under the alternate Aniplex.
Yeah, I know. Aniplex is... Oof.
So we'll see what's next.
And yet, I'm hoping that there's an Aniplex component to the Rightstuf sale.
So Assassin's Pride is coming out with a steelbook. Sentai release. Sentai likes their steelbook releases.
They do, and this is a somewhat random one to get a steelbook release. But...
So against the savage monsters that lurk outside the glass walls of Flandor, the last remnants of humanity have only one defense: the mana magic wielded only by members of the noble class. When Melita, heiress to House of Angel, fails to manifest her magic upon reaching majority of half
I'm guessing that
the half vampire, Kufa is sent with orders from her own grandfather to resolve the issue.
So there are a lot of similarities there with the basic premise to Cross Ange. But
I'm not really familiar with the series. It looks fun enough. Not $64 worth of fun.
no,
But it looks fun enough. I can put that as a curious.
I am definitely curious. And I would happily pick up the Steelbook for much less than that. Probably 25.
Yeah, definitely not 64.
It's like I think Monster
only 12
Musume. I
episodes.
think Monster Musume is what 35 right now, 36, which is pretty good for a Steelbook, but it's still more than I'd prefer to pay. This one I wouldn't pay that much.
There's a part of me wish I'd gotten that premium just because of how valuable it is now.
Yes, that thing. Who would have known? I mean, well, I guess you could have. Okay, now I have Dear Brother, which I'm going to guess from the artwork. Yep, Discotheque. 39 episode series. It's Nanako's first day at Seiran Academy, a prestigious all-girls high school famous for its exclusive and elegant sorority.
Oh, we know what happens
Only
there.
10 members will be accepted this year, and the competition is fierce. Despite seeming fairly unremarkable on the surface, Nanako is selected as a member, instantly making her a target for her jealous and angry classmates. But the bullying doesn't stop Nanako from forming friendships with the 3 most popular students and even falling in love. So this is a reuniting of the people behind Lady Oscar, which is maybe one of the reasons they went ahead and picked it up. I don't really know much about it. In 1991, so it's not quite as old. Still, that's a ripe old age for anime, as most current fans would probably see it. I do need to increase my familiarity with shows from that time. I've seen several, but I always welcome more of them. This doesn't look on the surface like a show that I would be lining up to see, but it definitely looks like what was the current pricing?
It looks 40 something, 46.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good value. Discotheque is good with that. So I could definitely give that a curious.
Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Bleach
There's
set
that
11,
Bleach.
which covers episodes 280 to 308. I'm trying to think of what the where that falls in the series, but it's coming close to the end because that's Aizen's like costume that he has towards the end.
Okay.
I have seen all of Bleach. But
Apparently
actually,
he
no,
needs
I
to
forgot. They go beyond Aizen, so that is the equivalent of set 22 now.
Apparently he needs to wash that outfit because it's emanating purple.
That's stink line.
Stink line, yeah.
But yeah, so technically you are doing a lot better if you're doing this because they are at half what they were in the DVD release.
That's not bad.
Definitely a space saver. It's very tempting to pick up these sets, but I don't really want to spend $50.
Well, if you do the breakdown, it's less than $2 an episode, which is not bad for Viz actually, but yeah, it's Bleach.
It's nearing the end of the Aizen storyline. Then you got that other one that comes after. It's they should have ended after the Aizen storyline. Technically, they should have ended after the Soul Society storyline and been done with it. But if I didn't have Bleach, I would put it as a yes, please. I'm not sure whether Bleach is a must-have in a collection, but definitely a yes, please.
Well, if you're really trying to have like an inclusive collection with all the big and important, Bleach, for all its flaws, is an important series. And it definitely has some good stuff to it. Like you said, the first couple of story arcs were pretty solid. So, and Aizen seemed like such a nice guy at first. But I could go with yes, please, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hatena Illusion. Complete series. I think this is a Funimation release. Is this the first release of this one?
Could be.
So, Makoto's childhood dream of becoming a magician hits a snag when he's shunned by his childhood friend and master's daughter, Atena. Her interest changes upon realizing he's carrying one of her mother's magical artifacts. Is there more to him than meets the eye? Oh, so there's some, a little bit of an Amish feeling because people are being shunned, and then you've got the Transformers involved, and Linda Bear, and it looks like elements of Negima and Harry Potter, and I'm just kind of being kind of flip at this point, but it looks like a fun series. And it's like the dude and the maid from Haruhi almost, you know. But this looks fun, but it doesn't look like anything I would spend a lot on or go out of my way to get. I'd probably get it for around $20 at the most, but I'll get it eventually. So I could, borderline between yes please and curious.
I'll go with curious.
Yeah.
Maybe if it hits an essentials line.
Yeah, then it becomes essential. Yeah.
So.
Hey, Fu.
Dororo. Maybe it's like Bobobo.
Maybe it looks just like it.
Or Dorara.
Yes, looks just like it.
Well, it's 24 episodes released by Sentai. Life as an orphan in feudal Japan is brutal. And while the street thief Dororo has managed to survive, while the craft can only go so far in the body of a child. Then just when it seems that Dororo's luck has run out, he's rescued from the man-eating ghoul by a mysterious young man wearing a doll-like mask and artificial limbs. Maybe he is in support of dolls. Hearing, let's see here, and they conceal deadly blades, born without arms, legs, sight, hearing, and even skin, after his father crafted a monstrous deal with the forces of darkness. Hayakimaru now somehow seeks out the demons who cursed him, regaining one of his lost attributes for each monster slain. I have actually heard about this, and have heard it is needlessly dark at times, but has some value. I don't know which anime channel talked about it, but I've heard it was okay, but definitely could have been better. I am willing to give it a shot, but no more than a curious from me.
See, when I first saw that, I thought it was somehow related to the Yatterman franchise. I'm trying to remember the name. Doronjo. There we go. And I'm like, but then I looked at it, I was like, nope, that looks a little different. It sounds like an intriguing premise, but it also sounds like it could be needlessly bloody and nasty and just, ugh. I'm going to go more meh for that one.
Alright. Moving on.
Alright. Memories. This is an anthology film and put together, presented by Katsuhiro Otomo. And this is a 95, I believe, right? And Discotek is releasing. And you've got 3 unforgettable animated tales. You got Magnetic Rose, Stink Bomb, and Cannon Fodder. And they're very different films, but they're all quite good. They're very good, actually. I really enjoy this anthology. And this is a brand new English dub. Do you remember if this is the first time on Blu-ray?
I seem to think that it has been released on Blu-ray before, but it could be wrong.
Right. But once again, a Discotek release, and I'm quite sure I have the basic DVD release. I probably will want to upgrade this.
They're definitely highlighting Magnetic Rose on here.
Right. I'm not going to be prioritizing getting this anytime soon. Just, money and whatnot. But I do want. And I would say I could call this a yes, please.
I think this is close to an essential, but not quite an essential.
Right.
So I could stick with yes, please on it.
Right.
Very good series. I also have it already, but it might be worth an upgrade in the future. Alright, so Fate Grand Order Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia Box Set 2. Well, it's actually on sale right now, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not going to pick this up until late in July when I have the money to do so. I don't like Anaplex's
They
way
still
of doing
have
it. If they don't, then they don't. I really want to get it, but I can then have to pray that they release it in a less expensive format.
Yeah.
More than likely, they'll still have it because the first set is still nowhere near out of stock. So I have a feeling that by the end of July, they'll still be in stock. Unless they put them directly on the sale, then it might change things.
Or if they do one of those dick moves where they intentionally release a fraction of this Part 2 versus Part 1.
That is true.
Yeah.
I like the Fate series from what I've seen of it, but collecting for it is an expensive and tedious mess. But I will probably end up getting these two.
I'll probably not.
And for that, it has to be a priority because it is on my list. I will be spending the money on it, and if I'm going to spend the money on it, it's going to be up there in priority. I know you're not going to be putting it there.
I'll go yes, please, because I do want it, but I am not going to prioritize it. I am too late to the game for that.
Something you would wish list and hope that you find it at a good price.
Yes. Yes. Okay, now we have Sword Guy, the animation. And I thought about putting this on my list specifically, and then I was like, it's a Sentai release. Basically, infernal weapons grant their wielders incredible power, but as each blade and hammer hosts an evil spirit, contracting their services requires a price few are willing to pay. Even the few who can master a demonic weapon without becoming its slave, the chrysalis,
Like
are
Excalibur.
destined. Well, yes, there's a little bit of Soul Eater here. I was thinking from the artwork and now from the description, it also reminds me a lot of a Kamiga Kill, and it reminds me a lot of Pandora Hearts. So if you throw those three in a blender and get anything halfway decent, then it should be halfway decent. I think there's potential here, but Pandora Hearts in particular left a lot to be desired for me. The theme songs were the best part of it. But Soul Eater was pretty kick-ass. So
Excalibur.
So actually, all three of those had great theme songs. So if this one has great theme songs, at least it's in that tradition. And being a Sentai release, there's a good chance that in a couple years it'll be pretty cheap. So I'll give it a solid curious. Not quite a yes, please, but
I'll go with a weak curious. There we go. We'll match up.
there we go. Food keeps coming and going and coming. And
Well, speaking in the vein, Lady Oscar, The Rose of Versailles Collection 2. This one is kind of an off series from the the Rose of Versailles series. But it finally finishes it off with the of a 20 through 40 or 21 through 40. Again, it takes place back during that whole French Revolution time period. I still have yet to see the original series, but I do want to see it, and I do want all the pieces. So I really do want to get these. I'm waiting for them to get to a more generous price.
It's a straight up vintage, just late 70s here.
So this one, I could live if it went away, but I would be sad.
Right.
So I will put this as a yes, please.
I can agree with that.
Because I have all of, of the original series,
Right.
but I don't have any of this series, which I could, in theory, live with just watching the one.
Right. All right.
Speaking of old.
Video Warrior Laserion. 45 episode series. Who says playing video games doesn't prepare you for life? Ooh, I think not enough people say that. In the far future, the Moon and Mars have become dumping grounds for the Earth's toxic waste and criminals because they go together. But it's probably not the criminals who are dumping the toxic waste, sadly.
Yeah.
And the criminal settlers on the Moon have started an armed rebellion, threatening their Earthbound captors. None of that matters much to Takashi Katori, who just wants to play computer games with his friend from America, Olivia Lawrence. Their favorite is a fighting robot game where Takashi's Laserion mecha can't be beat. But when a scientific experiment causes the robot to materialize into reality, Takashi learns he must pilot the Laserion to protect Earth from the criminals invading from space. 1984, you're right, this is an older one. And that description just sounds 80s.
Sounds fun, though.
Very 80s. But yes, it does sound fun. I originally looked at this and said, ugh. But now reading that, it sounds like a good, fun, cheesy 80s vibe. This sounds like the kind of series Mo's probably going to put forward eventually. So I could be curious.
All right. So
I guess you are as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, Nyanbo
Nice.
is about these cat creatures that
They're
are not really
cats.
cats.
They came from
Yes,
outer space.
they came from outer space.
I
and
hope
it's a
they didn't.
cutesy series.
I hope they didn't bring space rabies.
This is a case of. I know I was talking to Dave about Rightstuf, and he was upset about one of the issues with Rightstuf is that they tend to group things together.
Yes.
And that tends to slow down shipping.
It also
Sometimes months.
It also means, as I'm facing right now, I've got 2 orders waiting in the pike, and I had more than enough money for them, but I've been sitting on these orders for some time. And now they're probably going to charge me when I don't have the money in the bank. They do that shit all the time.
Now, it also means, though, that they sometimes will, to send the rest of the order, send something way ahead of time.
Yeah.
I got a hold of this 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
So 3 weeks before the release, I got a hold of that. Yeah, it's actually down there somewhere. Actually, it might be over there because I think the last of the ends is over there.
Right.
But yeah, it's actually kind of funny when you see stuff like that. But it looked incredibly cute, and it was even less than that when I got it. It was down to $10, and I couldn't resist adding that because I needed I needed $7 to get free shipping.
It looks like Lego cats.
It looks like those boxes, like the Amazon boxes.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah.
But I couldn't help it. I just had to get a hold of it.
It looks fun.
So since I bought it on a whim, it's really more of a curious. But since I did buy it, I don't want to put it as a priority, but I did buy it right away. So I guess I could put it as a priority because I did.
Well, not to worry. I'll drag it down to yes, please. Because I'm curious. Yeah.
I can understand. That'd probably be where I was there. That's really more the definition of what a curious is that,
right.
Well, I need to get that cart topper for the shipping. This looks interesting.
Right.
I'll put this on there.
Right. Oh, and with that, we are done with our anime for now. Although, yeah, that doesn't look much like anime, but it does look good. We have a Kinolobra release from, with some solid folks. Jessica Lange, Kathy Bates, and Joan Allen. It's called Bonneville. You also got Christine Baranski and some other folks in there. from 2007. It's a relatively short film, just an hour and a half. It's basically a road trip movie about three friends who travel. They're like traveling cross country to. I think they're delivering the ashes of one of their their deceased husband or some such thing. Also, Tom Skerritt. I forgot he was in it. That's one of the reasons I was interested.
He's in the box.
Yes. Yes, he is. So, yeah, anything with Kathy Bates and Tom Skerritt and Joan Allen automatically deserves a look, I think. I don't know anything else about this, but it's curious.
The only thing that I can say of note about this for me is when I saw it, I first thought it said Bonerville. Now, if it was Bonerville, I would definitely be curious. But with this one, I'm getting tired of a lot of these, and until it gets more, until it gives me more of a reason to watch it, it's going to be a meh for me.
Okay.
Where'd you put it? Yes, please?
I said curious.
Oh, curious? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Alright, moving on to one that you're probably going to put meh below. Death Collector, Special Edition. Already seems like an amazing thing. Action pumping, thumping ride with music, metal, and violence. Enough to get your 80s gut pumping. And it's only available through this Culture Shock releasing. Now, that really has me on more than one way. And also, I love these types of 80s schlock, action, sci-fi, crazy films. I love these things. If I have the money, I will get this. It's definitely on my radar, especially when it's something limited like this. I mean, plus look at the cover. I mean, come on. You can't see that cover and go,
that is a cool looking cover, I'll admit that. And if you scroll down a bit, we've been like, I love this description. When crime boss and amateur bowler.
yes.
I mean, I do like this description here.
Sorry, I can move back if you want. There you go.
Well, that was pretty much everything. The only thing that worries me is like just how bloody is it going to be. I don't really know.
So I'm putting it as a yes, please, because it's definitely heavy on my wish list.
Right.
I can't say a priority because I may not get it,
Right.
but it's definitely on my radar. It is one I would like to get. Just for the cover alone, I want it. But it's also just, it seems like one of those 80s schlock films that I love so much.
Well, it seems like one of those 80s schlock films that I approach with trepidation and either survive or mildly enjoy. So I can't go higher than curious, but I'm not sure. I may severely regret having said curious about this one. But I'll be nice and go with that.
Oh, either way, I would be curious.
Well, that's true, but still. It's right on the border.
It wouldn't be a hell no, at least. So
No.
That's something. It looks like something that my
Now, if
father
I
would have loved
learn that it's an incredibly bloody, gory film, then it might drop to hell no. But otherwise,
like Franklin.
Okay, next up, one that I'm definitely curious about. One of the biggest disappointments in my history as a fan of movies has been that I watched and thoroughly enjoyed The Golden Compass, and they never bothered to finish the story. So now I think is it Netflix that's doing this series?
I think it's HBO.
Well, it's HBO, but like who's actually streaming it?
I think HBO.
Oh, I thought it was streaming on one of the others. Well, anyway, so Philip Pullman did a trilogy of novels called His Dark Materials, and The Golden Compass was the first one. I can't remember the order, but the others were The Amber Knife and The Amber Spyglass and the Subtle Knife. And this is the second season, which I'm assuming is the second book. I haven't watched them, so I'm not sure. But I am very, very, very intrigued, especially because the main girl is played by the girl from Logan, and she was pretty darn good. So
It's got a lot of good special features.
oh
in
yeah,
too.
it does too. And I am very, very, very intrigued. And yet somehow I keep forgetting that this series is out there. But one day, I will call this a yes, please, because I will not prioritize getting it like at any cost. But sure as hell, I will buy it on Black Friday if it's the right price.
I would put it as a priority because I have the first season, so I will have to get it. Even if it goes out of print, I will have to get it eventually. Hopefully not out of print, because then I would have to hunt it.
Right.
But that will make it a yes, please.
Good deal.
All right, moving on. Foo, stop chewing on the wires. So we have some David Bowie on the list today, and one of them is Just a Gigolo,
Really?
which is a Shout Factory release. And poor late David Bowie was in a few films. Paul von okay, you can pronounce these much better than I can.
Not necessarily. Zygalski?
A young Prussian gentleman arrives in the trenches in the time to be caught in the final explosion of the Great War. After recuperating in a military hospital where he's mistaken for a French hero, he returns to Berlin. His family home has been turned into a boarding house. His father is paralyzed, and his mother is working in the Turkish baths. So, I like this concept. I like David Bowie as an actor. He's actually kind of fun as an actor. But,
and it's the final film of Marlene Dietrich, which is interesting.
But it looks interesting. So I will give it a definite high curious.
I'm solidly curious too. I've actually heard of this film in passing over the years, and it's got my interest. I'll get there eventually.
Check on the cat while you go into this.
Okay. So next up we have another one of those ones where the cast alone catches your interest. John Wayne and Kirk Douglas. I mean, not that I'm an enormous fan of, particularly of Wayne, but that's two heavy hitters there. This is an Otto Preminger film, so even more of a heavy hitter. You've also got Patricia Neal, Henry Fonda, Carol O'Connor, Burgess Meredith, Paula Prentice, Dana Andrews, etc., etc. I mean, that is a heck of a cast there. And it's about Pearl Harbor, basically. And it's, I guess, one of the early Pearl Harbor films. He says it's been told and retold, but perhaps never so completely. Well, it is 2 hours and 46 minutes long, so I guess I believe that. If memory serves correctly, I think this was an Oscar nominee. I think that was one of the reasons I picked it. I think it was up for 1 or 2 awards, nothing major. But mainly it's the cast that catches my interest with this one. It's probably a tedious film to watch, especially if Wayne is the star of the film. It might be a tedious film to watch, but it's probably worth getting. And because of its Oscar history, I have to give it a yes, please.
I give it a curious.
Okay.
I don't really much care for the Wayne war films, but it might be okay.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Oh, whoa. One of the little cats is playing with my foots again.
Hello, Blanche.
Right?
She's a playful one. So we've got another fairly good one from Warner Archive, Madame Curie, with Walter Pidgeon and Greer Garrison. A brilliant scientist, pioneering woman in a field closed to her gender. A woman who shares a passion for discovery with her husband. A passion that will cause the death of the love of her life. Academy winner Greer Garrison stars as Madame Curie. Behind the discovery of radioactivity lies the story of Mary and Pierre Curie. A moving human story of two people who love each other much as their great work. Now, me, I am curious about this more than anything else. I like the story originally of that's behind it. It is a very tragic story, but we learned a lot because of Curie. So I am curious as to what they do with this. Though I have never seen it, so I cannot say whether they're going to what they're going to do with it.
Right.
So I'm going to put it as a curious for me.
I am, on its own merit, I am also fairly curious. But this film was actually, I do remember this. This movie was up for 7 Oscars, including Best Picture. So I definitely feel like that is one that I need to see. And I definitely need to give it a yes, please. Which I guess we'll leave it at curious.
If only it had won.
Yeah. Yeah, you always have to wonder about the ones that are up for lots and lots of awards and don't win. Alright, next up we have Moby Doc.
Fun name, though.
It is a fun name.
And DVD only.
A DVD only, sadly. But Moby, for those of you who are unfamiliar, was briefly a hot item in the 90s music scene. He had a couple of big hits and a lot of minor hits. But he also, for again, a brief moment there, parlayed that into some movie cameos and some other, like he was a well-known presence. And as I understand it, I think he has remained kind of on the fringes of the music industry since then, and apparently become quite the activist as well. So this is the description says a surrealist biographical documentary narrated by Moby as he reflects on his personal life and iconic music, from underground punk bands to chart-topping solo artist and struggling addict to vegan activist. You got David Lynch is involved. There's David Bowie appears in archival interviews apparently, and some other folks as well. And this just sounds like a really intriguing kind of documentary. Like it's definitely not going to be a typical concert doc, and really not your typical biographical pick either. So I'm curious about this. I think it'll be probably pretty interesting, and I'm almost tempted to say yes, please. If I knew more about it, I would, but without knowing more about it, curious.
Yeah, so let's see there. Over here, I see it. Yeah, so I'd say curious for me. Nothing more to say about that. All right, so there are a lot of Mae West films coming out now. There's, according to Blu-ray.com, there is a Mae West collection coming. But I have found nothing, nary a mention, other than on Blu-ray.com about the Mae West collection. And they say that Kino is going to release it, but Kino apparently never got the memo.
Anderson? It's not listed at all on their site?
Nope. So, with that being said, let's just say there's a lot of Mae West coming out.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to highlight one of them. I forget if you actually had any that you highlighted.
Not specifically, no.
So this is just going to be a stand-in for the rest. My Little Chickadee was an interesting thing because both W.C. Fields and Mae West's careers were kind of going on the outs at the time. So this was a way of kind of boosting both of them in a Western. I own this and have seen this because I've got the W.C. Fields collections, which have this as one of them. But still, I really like the pairing. They did a pretty good job with this. And, there are worse things to have with Mae West on it. So.
Right.
So with that being said, I would put this as it's really between a yes please and a curious. I will go with a weak yes please because I do have it in the collection. So
I'll go with the curious. I feel like with Mae West, it's kind of like W.C. Fields. I'm not familiar with her work, but I feel like it should be. And definitely, as you said, there's a lot coming out this week, and I could just kind of make a blanket statement that I'm curious about most of them, Yeah.
I think everybody should have at least one film with W.C. Fields and Mae West in the collection, just because of their star power.
Right.
All right.
And
then we go back.
And then we have Percy versus Goliath, which stars Christopher Walken, and that's most of what you need to know. But you've also got Christina Ricci in there, and apparently it's about a Canadian farmer who goes to court to punish people for using GMOs that mess up his crops. And I just like that idea tremendously. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. You got Zach Braff in there as well. I like the cast. I like the idea of the little guy going to court over the big corporate bastards who are screwing up the world. And yeah, I'm going to have to see this. So I'd actually go a very weak yes, please, on that one.
And I'll bring it back down to curious. What was the name of the film again?
Percy versus Goliath.
Oh, okay. Yeah, DVD only, by the way.
Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, not the winning collection that we've had last time. So speaking of great films, The Purge Season 2 is coming to Blu-ray. I've seen Season 1. It was okay. They really try to go into the lore of The Purge here, even more so than the movies, even though there is a new movie.
Yeah.
It's all right. Purge is, of course, it's all about them having that one day that everybody, can do anything. But, and of course, I think the latest film is about them trying to stop people from purging. It's an okay show.
Okay.
Not one of my best, but I've got the movies. I guess I'll eventually collect this. So yes, please. It's on my wish list.
Is it comparable to the movies in terms of like the visuals and whatnot?
A little bit lower on that end,
Okay.
like a little bit less, because they can only go so far.
Right. I actually quite enjoy. Strangely enough, I still haven't seen the first movie, but I've seen all the other, all the sequels.
Like how we did that movie night. We just watched those.
So we need to maybe cover the first one on Movies Galore, and then that would fix that problem. But I'm curious about the show, but that's all. I'll just say curious.
All right. Boom.
Okay.
All right. Hey. Boom.
And then
We've got that.
The Perfect Candidate by by Haifa Al Mansour. And it is a documentary about a candidate in, was it Iran? Where was it? I don't know.
There you go.
Okay. So, is that the one? That really does. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it does. Okay. So it apparently takes place. That description doesn't give me enough to work on. But anyway, it takes place in the Middle East, Near East, that general area, and it's about a young woman, a doctor, who finds herself, it says inadvertently registered as a candidate for a local council. And it's an interesting idea, even though I really wish I remembered more of the details. I'm blanking. I read on this one and I liked what I read. Let's put it that way. And I know that the film was pretty well received when it came out. The critics were very kind to it generally. It's been vaguely on my radar for some time, so I'm going to be a very strong, curious, borderline yes please for this one.
Weak curious for me, but not on the borderline of hell no. So that's a.
Well,
that's
it's kind of hard to be curious, borderline hell no.
Yeah, sorry, borderline meh, but not quite borderline meh. I meant.
Okay.
What was the name again?
Perfect Candidate.
Okay, so that. There we go. I was looking for that same cover and I didn't find it. Also, only on DVD. There is a Blu-ray mention, but it is not in our country. For $47.
Woohoo!
Alright. So, Scare Us, which looked interesting. It is a DVD-only release. Let's see. It's a horror anthology. I'd heard a couple of these things. Penned by an unlikely group of aspiring writers in Sugarton, a small town plagued by the apparent return of an infamous serial killer dubbed Cutthroat. I don't know. These types of things, I'm always a huge fan of horror anthologies. And this one, I've heard a couple of rumblings in some of the community spheres, so I had to check this out. So this is more of a heavy curious on my end.
Hard to say without knowing more about it. I'll probably go meh, but it's a high meh.
Yeah, it could go either way after you see it.
Yeah, I just don't know enough. Okay, That Certain Age. Deanna Durbin film. We also have a few Deanna Durbin films coming out this week. I'm not sure what the thing is with her and Mae West, but, you know, there's a few of them. And the film also stars Melvin Douglas. And you got a number of other people in there too, but there's some of the big ones. Jackie Cooper's in there, and et cetera, et cetera. Honestly, the main reason this made my list is that it's also an Oscar nominee. I believe it was for original song and sound, something like that. It's about a young woman who experiences the turbulence of a first crush with a man 3 times her age. Newspaper publisher offers his guest house to a visiting reporter who's under a tight deadline and needs a quiet place to write, and we all know where this is going. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm vaguely curious, but again, because it's an Oscar nominee, I have to go yes, please.
I'm more on the meh end of it, but that'll take it down to a curious. So
Okay.
hey, it'll go back to
There we go.
to the actual feeling of the film. So let's see. Stardust. Now this is an interesting film. This is a film about David Bowie and his journey to becoming David Bowie, essentially, as opposed to his Ziggy Stardust type character, which is very fascinating. I've read several books. Actually, it's kind of funny. I'm not as well read these days, but I was very well read back in the day. I've read several books on David Bowie, and it's very interesting because this time was really a rough time for him because he was being taken advantage of and all of this stuff. And he was just coming into things and then kind of developed this persona. So it's a very interesting time in his life, probably one of the most formative. So this would be a very cool movie to have. How well they do it, I don't know, because I'd never heard of it before this. So it's a very... I'm going to even go as far as a yes, please, because I want to keep my eye on it. I'm not going to buy it unless it's cheap enough.
Right.
But my interest is very piqued. It's very much one I would like subject-wise. I just don't know whether I would pay the full price for it.
Well, I agree with you that this was one I hadn't really heard about either. And it doesn't have a particularly glowing rating on IMDb either, but the subject matter is intriguing. Bowie is a interesting fella, no doubt about it. Was an interesting fella. And while I've never been an enormous fan of his music, I definitely like a lot of it, and I understand the artistry behind it. Well, I understand that there's a great deal of artistry behind it. And this looks like a very interesting story to tell. I'm a big fan of Jenna Malone, so anything she's in, I want to give it a look. There was a time where I was like, if it's a Jenna Malone movie, I'm getting it, so that would have made it a yes, please, but I don't think there's any actors where I'm doing that now, so... I think I have to go Curious on this one, but it's right near the border. Okay. The Trail of the Lonesome Pine with Fred MacMurray and Henry Fonda, another Henry Fonda movie. This one has a single Oscar nomination, which again I believe was for original song. It would be kind of cool to see McMurray and Fonda together. I think that'd be kind of interesting. One of the first films ever to be filmed outdoors in glorious Technicolor. Deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, huh? Two young men are caught in the midst of ancient and bitter feud between two families and fighting for the romantic attention of a beautiful woman. So what is this supposed to be? A Hatfields and McCoy's knockoff or something? I don't know. I'm curious. Again, Oscar nominee. I got to go yes, please. I'm more like a moderate curious.
Yeah, I'm a low curious. Mainly because of technical things and some of the firsts that they're working with.
Right.
So I'd be...
Not to mention being someone from that area, you probably want to see how well they capture the feel of the movie.
Like I say, it's less about the story than it is, or even the song that was nominated, because I could hear that other ways.
Right.
More just, I'm curious what it looks like.
And let's be honest, 80% of the songs that were nominated back then were crap. I mean, well, some of them now too, but...
I'm going to be very brief because I've covered this several times, but this time it's actually coming out.
You think?
I think. I mean, it still says the 29th, and the 29th is tomorrow as of this filming.
Right.
They would have to do some quick thinking to try and delay this again. But we'll see if Toy Soldiers in December comes back on it. Very good films. I would like to have them in my collection, but I'm in no hurry to have them in my collection.
Well, that's a good thing.
So, probably, I'll just put it as Curious. I think I put it as Curious last time.
I think I did too. I'm pretty sure that's where we ended up.
Because Toy Soldiers is a good movie, and so is December, but,
Okay. And now we have the first of two proper Criterion discussions. This is a film called Pariah. The path to living as one's authentic self is paved with trials and tribulations in this revelatory assured feature debut by Dee Rees, the all too rare coming-of-age tale to honestly represent the experiences of queer black women. It's the main performance is by Adepero Oduye. As a Brooklyn teenager, Alike, who is navigating the emotional minefields of first love and heartache, and the disapproval of her family as she expresses her gender and sexual identities within a system that doesn't make space for them. Isn't Dee Rees the one behind Mudbound?
I can't remember.
I think so. So this is 2011. It's actually a decent amount of special features. Nothing extraordinary, but there's a little bit there. I am very intrigued by this. I'm still waiting for Criterion's release of Mudbound. Maybe next year, but I do want to see this eventually. It is one that, as a Criterion release, can definitely get a yes please ranking.
I'll put it as a curious. I'm curious about it. But what I'm getting on Criterion has to be within that small amount that I can afford.
Oh, yeah.
So this is one that I didn't even realize was out, and now that once I did, I now know I have to have it, which is The Watch, Season 1.
I almost mentioned it.
Now, this one is based off of Cherry Pratchett's books, and I had to double check about it. But it's done by the BBC.
Nice.
I need to get this. I don't know if I'm going to prioritize it, but it is going to be very high. Essentially, The Watch. You've read Terry Pratchett's books, right?
I have not.
I've read a number of them. Great English comedic author. Have you seen any of the films, the TV films that I have a couple of them, like The Hogfather or...
Oh, yeah, you showed me that one. That was a good one.
So there's a good example. And a lot of the stuff takes place in the city of Ankh-Morpork, which is very close to London. Matter of fact, it's kind of funny because they make fun of the Thames, where, oh yeah, somebody gets thrown into the river. The problem is if only those people who are drunk to the point where they're passed out drown, because usually you can just get up and walk out. But it is a very cool thing. I really like the stuff about the Watch. Matter of fact, some of the stuff with the Watch is incredibly funny. Captain Carrot, who fights using Dwarvish battle bread, and just a lot of fun things.
It looks fun.
So
I actually thought about putting this on my list, but then it's probably good I saved it for you.
So noting that this is one of those that I have to put as a yes, please. I can't say I'm going to get it necessarily, but I really want to get it, so it probably will be mine eventually. And I really love the source material being hilarious, and a lot of the Terry Pratchett works I do have. I think I'm missing a couple, but otherwise, yeah. As far as movies, I don't have the books, but I've read a good portion of them.
Well, I was curious, and honestly, from what you say, I think I can probably leave it a yes, please. I won't be rushing to get it, but I'll be looking for it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, next up, I swear this one was set for release before. They must have pushed it back. Maybe I'm just making that up. But we have one called Pickup on South Street. Also from Criterion, 1953 film. Petty crook Skip McCoy has his eyes fixed on the big score. When the cocky three-time convict picks the pocketbook of unsuspecting Candy, he finds a more spectacular haul than he could have imagined. A strip of microfilm bearing confidential U.S. information, etc., etc., etc. You got Richard Widmark and Gene Peters. Decent number of bonus features. Not an extraordinary amount, but decent. Looks fun.
Yeah, I would say so.
And I'll give it a yes, please.
No eating off of the
Foo. Don't be mean.
So yeah, looks interesting. Again, I'll put it as a curious. I rarely go below curious with Criterion releases, but I need to know more.
Right.
All right. So last up, if I keep this cap from going out, I would consider that I saved the best for last.
Mm-hmm.
Despite those being Criterion, this needs a Criterion release.
It does.
And I guess we're closer to that now with the 4K release of Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
I am very, very strongly interested in seeing it in 4K. This thing had some spectacular effects back in the day. Amazing story, and Gene Wilder's probably most iconic performance ever.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he liked it or not, I guess, it would be that whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
he certainly made a somewhat more memorable, in a good way, i.e. less creepy version than Johnny Depp did.
But still, it is one that if you haven't seen this film or read the books, you should read the books.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen this film, you should see this film. It is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I will put that as a priority. I will be getting this. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, but it will be gotten. Oh yes, it will be mine.
This is hard for me to say because I do have it on DVD. I agree that it might look really good on 4K if they do it right. And even if they half-ass it, it would probably look decent.
But if you didn't have the movie.
If I didn't have the movie, it would be a priority because you gotta have it. And this does look like a good way to get it. So I will not be pre-ordering this, but I will be watching for an opportunity to get it cheaply. So, but imagining that I didn't have it, I probably would pre-order it. So we'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, that's what we've got here. Of course, as you can tell, there are a lot of Mae West films.
A lot of Mae West, yes.
But there are a few here that we didn't get into.
Well, you got all those Criterion ones down there filling up space, too.
Yeah, that had the kind of the re-releases.
Right.
Matter of fact, every single one of them had an already existing spot on Amazon and was fully in stock. So I'm guessing, like I said, I'm guessing it was just a reissue of the same volume. Battle Beyond the Stars, I almost did. And that was... And The Leather Boys, because I remember that... I swear we covered that once.
Maybe.
But any on there that you can think of that should get a mention?
There were a couple that I thought about, like Here Are the Young Men has Anya Taylor-Joy in it. Le Mans, a Steve McQueen film. But that's about it.
Well, that's good then.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you on the next.
Bye.